Folks, welcome into sportsbookreview.com. This is your Major League Baseball show for October 6, 2020, a special playoff edition. We got 4 games that we're going to get after today. And I got to say, Jason, after watching yesterday on these neutral baseball field options, are overs back in vogue now? I'm Donnie Seymour. He's Jason Radowitz. We're going to have a nice day, a nice breakdown of games, see if we can put some more cash in your pocket. Playoff baseball is here. New series, some interesting guys in, some interesting guys out, Jason, for today on Tuesday. I'm ready to have some fun. Let's do this.
Yeah, so yesterday we had Garrett Cole over 18.5 outs, got 18, was under 100 pitches for the game. The number 9 hitter would have been his next batter in the 7th inning to get that final out for the bet, and failed us. Boone failed us, didn't put Cole in for the 7th inning, and that was that. So that was terrible. But at the end of the day, 2 really exciting, powerful games, and could probably expect that moving forward in today's games.
Yeah, 10-5 yesterday in the Houston-Oakland game, and also 9-3 in the Yankees and the Rays game. So maybe some overs are back. Maybe they dropped off new baseballs. Or is it the fact that technically every pitcher now on the mound is theoretically a road game? We got 4 games, as I said, to start today. All 4 games are played at neutral sites, and all 4 games should have some good weather. Still getting some conflicting reports here. We have that first game coming up at 2:08 Eastern. It looks like the roof is going to be closed in Houston, but later tonight going to be open in the Los Angeles Dodgers game, which is played in Arlington. But obviously some nice weather games here that we're going to have also in California with the obviously in San Diego and Los Angeles. 100 people watching the show. We do thank you for that. Another day, another tick up here on the actual subscriptions right here on our YouTube channel. 70,300 people have now hit that subscribe button. Thank you. Every time Jason and I go live talking Major League Baseball, get it delivered directly to your inbox by hitting that notification button. The Jalen, Lamont, Jovan, Steve, OG, Jose, Drew, Lamont, Randy, and Dennis all here in the chat box, ready to get started. Jason, let's not wait any longer because we got a game that's coming up in roughly a half hour, and that's between Miami and Atlanta. Game 1 of their 5-game series in the NLDS. Alcantara is on the mound versus Fried, the lefty. This line opened up at Pinnacle offshore at SBRodds.com around that 195 range, and now we're seeing it creep over $2. Pinnacle offshore 208, Chris offshore 210, William Hill minus 205, New Jersey outlets minus 220s across the board. The over/under, which opened up at 8, still sitting at 8 at most outlets here. DraftKings out of New Jersey is showing an 8.5. When we take a look at the numbers before I get into the lineups that have been released, you're looking at a pitcher, and I'm again trying to break this down to try to give the best options because theoretically they're all road teams. We can go with that. But look at Alcantara's numbers here. 1.80 ERA on the road, a 3.00 xFIP. And we take a look at Max Fried, 1.71 on the road with a 3.94 xFIP. Both of these teams, actually the lineups 1 through 9, set up well to these pitching matchups. But these pitchers have had really good numbers on the road in a neutral environment. And if that roof is going to be closed, I think that's going to pay a difference here, Jason, in this early game today.
Yeah, I agree. Under 4.5 first 5 would be a lean for me in this game. I think we've seen Max Fried. He's just been dominant throughout the entire season, and even in the postseason in his start versus the Reds, he's been terrific. He's getting a high ground ball rate, solid strikeout rate. Of course, walks can become a problem for him, but he's limited them for the most part recently. When you go to that postseason start, 7 innings pitched versus the Reds, he had 6 hits. Struck out 5, no walks, got 11 grounders in that game. If he continues to get those ground balls under all day for any of Fried's starts. Also, like you said, his road splits have been really good. 1.71 road ERA. Obviously, the Braves are the home team, but they're playing on the road in Texas. Righty's just hitting 209. Lefty's hitting 220. And then you have Alcantara. He's got a high Sierra, but he's been a lot better when you don't look at a Sierra. So put that into perspective. He went 6.2 innings pitched versus the Cubs, allowed 3 hits, just 1 solo home run, 4 strikeouts, and 3 walks. So walks were a little bit of an issue versus the Cubs, but was able to kind of work away from the damage. Did face the Braves 3 times in the last season, not this season, but last season. Finished with a 2.41 ERA in 18.2 innings pitched. So he's had success versus the Braves in his career. Recently, from last season, still had 9 walks in those 18.2 innings pitched. So you would think that the Braves will definitely be able to get on base, get some walks, and potentially have enough power to score a couple runs versus Alcantara. But at the end of the day, both these starters have been really good recently, and I would assume that Fried's able to have another dominant performance like he's done. But maybe the Braves score a couple runs. That's why I would say the Braves would win this game, but I couldn't tell you to take the Braves at minus 200. There's just no chance.
Yeah, minus 200 is a pretty steep price in this game. No Starlin Marte in the lineup today for those Marlins. Berti, Aguilar, Cooper, Anderson, Rojas, Dickerson, Brinson, Wallach, and Sierra. And when you take a look at those numbers versus left-handed pitching, Jason, they've done fairly well. When you take a look at some elevated ISO numbers, Aguilar's got a 245, Cooper's got a 425, Rojas 389, Dickerson 189, Brinson 220, Wallach 500, and Sierra at 250. So they have some elevated levels, which they can do some damage if they can get to Fried. When we take a look on the opposite side of the spectrum, we know what Atlanta brings to the table. And those first 7 batters, look at these weighted on base averages: 416, 494, 409, 417, 349, 358, 342. We know the damage Atlanta can do. We'll see how Alcantara is able to handle those batters. But I got to tell you, it would change a little bit if that roof was open today, let some of that heat and humidity in, as we saw yesterday with both of those games out in California. The ball really traveled well, and you got some power hitters and some decent hitters in both of these lineups. I do lean towards the under because I think both of these pitchers can get a handle on these batters. So I would lean towards the under 8. But again, I'm not going to take a favor on this shot at Atlanta. If I'm looking at a $2 price, I don't see any reason why you wouldn't just throw even a little bit down on Miami, even though we know Atlanta is the stronger baseball team. That's the way I'd be looking at this one. Game 2 today. And we'll keep this right in order of time. 4:37 p.m. first pitch. Houston and Oakland. That's Valdez, the lefty, versus Minaya, the lefty. 7 out of every 10 tickets in this game, Jason, coming in on the Oakland Athletics. I thought they had the win yesterday. Looked good early, hit some home runs, had the lead, some errors, and all of a sudden the bottom fell out. And I joked yesterday on the air because I like the over in this game, but I was like, man, I don't think anyway Houston's going to get to 7 runs. And when I looked up after I was doing a couple things and some shows, they got 7 runs on the board. I'm like, oh my goodness, here we go. So I thought Oakland would win the game and it would go over, but obviously that wasn't the case with Oakland. Now they need to bounce back because, again, we're not talking about a 7-game series, not a 3-game series where you lose and go home in game 2, but there's no way you want to fall down 2-0 in a 5-game series. So let's take a look here at some of the numbers. You got roughly a pick 'em across the board. Pinnacle opened up as a slight favorite to Oakland. Now you're seeing it anywhere between 110, 111, one way towards Houston, and 110, 111 the other way for the Oakland Athletics in this one. Over-under opened up at 8.5, now sits at 9. Again, you're going to get some nice weather out there in Los Angeles. When we take a look at these two guys and how they match up, because again, specifically looking still at a road game, 3.60 ERA for Valdez on the road with a 3.12 xFIP, which is really good. You take a look at Minaya, his ERA is up at a 5.02, but actually his FIP is a 4.06, almost a full percentage lower. And then also take a look at the xFIP of 4.20. I guess if we're figuring on Houston's bats are here now, it's warmer weather and they're not, stuck in domes or playing in Oakland, it can really come up because this game being a pick'em, I still liked Oakland for the series. I'm not so sure now because if those Houston bats come to hit today and they were able to hold down in the bullpen, I think they win. I'm going to take Houston today on a short price, Jason.
I like where you're going with this. I have an official play in this game. I'm going with the Astros in the first 5 on the money line. So we're not doing any spreads. We're going first 5 on the money line. Again, it's a pick 'em at minus 110. I also like the Astros in the full game, but I'm sticking to the Astros first 5 on the money line. You're getting Framber Valdez versus Sean Minaya. And Valdez is the better pitcher. Like you said, the xFIPs are easily for Valdez, ERA for Valdez, FIP for Valdez. Valdez has higher strikeouts, also limits the home runs. Valdez also gets a great amount of ground balls. And I'm not saying Minaya doesn't, he does, but Valdez gets around 60% of ground balls on the season, which is incredible. One of the highest in all of baseball. And we're talking about balls flying here, balls flying there. They can't fly on the ground. So if Valdez gets those ground balls, definitely works out for the Astros. He actually won his final 3 starts in the regular season for the Astros, then pitched in relief in his last outing against the Twins and looked really good in 5 innings pitched. This is a guy that has great control, just 2 walks per 9 innings. Really, really good when it comes down to it. In his last 3 appearances, he's gotten 18.1 innings pitched, just 2 runs with 24 strikeouts. He's now held righties to a 238 average, just allowed 5 home runs on the season against righties. So looking at that, and the Athletics are more than likely going to have 7, and I think their lineup actually just came out, but they'll probably have at least 6, probably 7 righties in the lineup, and he's holding righties to a 238 average as a lefty. That's really, really good. And then you have Sean Manaea. This is a guy who's gotten a lot better throughout the season. Really struggled early on in the season, got a lot better now. So his stats are a little bit misleading due to his what he did earlier in the season, but still a lot of hard contact against Manaea, and the Astros bats are starting to heat up a little bit, and we can't say that they're cheating anymore. Like, they're not cheating, and they look good, right? They had 16 hits in their first game. Obviously, hit the bullpen as well. So if Manaea has a short leash, where he might have a short leash because he's viewed as the fourth or fifth pitcher for the Athletics, they view Fiers as the better pitcher than Manaea, obviously, with Fiers going that third game against the White Sox. So with that said, on the road, Manaea, a 5.02 ERA with a 3.02 OBA. Obviously the Athletics are home, but they're on the road, really. But the funny thing is, he finished the season in Los Angeles against the Dodgers on the road. That's the same stadium that they're going to be playing in. In that game, he allowed 3 earned runs in that game. Didn't look great. He's now allowed 6 earned runs in his last 11.1 innings pitched against Colorado and the Dodgers. So, look, I don't think that he's going to be terrible. I just think he's going to be not good enough. Going up against Valdez, I do think the Astros score some runs. I think Valdez holds it down in the first 5 innings. I also think the Astros win it in the full game, but anything can change between these two teams and their offenses, what they're capable of. So at the end of the day, we're going Astros first 5 on the money line at -110. That's an official play for me.
Yeah, I like that there. Abel Alvarez has been to many Dodger games, and on day games, that ball flies. Certainly looked like that was doing it yesterday. George Springer waking up. If all he takes is, we were waiting for the entire season for the Astros just to not only, not exceed their expectations, but just do the average at the plate. And if it continues anywhere near what they did yesterday, they should be in good shape. And you're right, when you bring up some of those numbers with Framber Valdez going against, lefties and righties, you figure a left-handed pitcher would handle lefties, which he does, and maybe struggle a little bit versus right-handers. That's not the case in this one, and you're right. There's only 2 left-handers in the entire lineup today, Tommy La Stella and Olson. The rest are right-handed batters, and it's not a great – they have some okay ISO numbers, but when you look at actual pedigree per lineup, if it carries over, I think Houston is better here. I think Houston has the better starting pitcher today as well. We'll see if they get the hits, but you're right. Oakland technically home, even though they are on the road, and I think that number is cheap there, so I'm going to stick with that, -110, basically a pick 'em here, full game with the Houston Astros. 9:05, 9:06. What we've been saying all along, Jason, if you're going to match up great starting pitching, which you have yesterday theoretically with Snell and also Garrett Cole in the mound, you're just going to lean on the bats for the Yankees to try to do more damage, and that's exactly what took place yesterday, and we'll see if it comes in again. Deivi Garcia is going to be on the mound for the Yankees versus Tyler Glasnow. To me, I think you have the better pitcher on the mound for Tampa Bay, but again, it's 1 through 9. There's no breathers in that Yankees lineup. They're playing out there, in San Diego, so you get nice weather. You're not playing in a dome down in Tampa, as I continue to say, where the ball doesn't travel. Taking a look at the line in this one, 7 out of every 10 tickets here coming in on the Tampa Bay Rays in this one. They open up as a slight favorite, -116. That now dips into the 20s, -121, -126. Some of the New Jersey outlets at -125s across the board. Opened up at an 8 as a total. That now sits at an 8.5. If we take a look at some of these splits out here to take a look between these pitchers, Glasnow on the road this year, 3.5 ERA and an outstanding xFIP of 2.94. When we take a look at Deivi Garcia, 262 average on the road, 5.23 ERA, 4.73 xFIP overall. I do think you're getting the better pitcher here with Tampa Bay. Now, having said that, Tampa Bay is going to play the favorite, and we always like to look, Jason, say, hey, the Yankees getting plus money here. Where do I go wrong? Just wait out Glasnow. It's one of those games where you can't afford Tampa Bay to go down 0-2 versus the Yankees. I think everything is in play in this game. All hands on deck. Slight lean towards Tampa Bay in this game. And then also still with a line of 8.5. Both these starting pitchers, if you get them out of the game by the 5th or 6th inning, you might be able to do some damage late. Slight lean toward the over. But I do think Tampa Bay gets this game, even though I don't want to make it official.
Exactly. This is a game where the Rays obviously have the better pitcher. You're going up against a rookie pitcher in Deivi Garcia of the Yankees. He's 3-2 in 6 starts. His strikeouts are not bad. He really hasn't walked many batters, which has been good. But you got both these starters who have allowed multiple home runs in games before, which kind of scares you. Both these pitchers, they have really low ground ball rates as well. Obviously, Glasnow has a really high strikeout percentage. So he's striking out 14.28 batters per 9 innings in the regular season. So if he can do that, then obviously he has a little bit of an edge there against Garcia. But, Garcia, talking about him, he's struggled a little bit, in September. Had a really good debut, and then he's had some good starts, had some bad starts. When Garcia goes 7 innings, or when he goes into the 7th inning, the Yankees are winning. When he's not, they're losing. And I think you and I can both agree that Garcia won't make it to the 7th inning in this game.
Yeah, correct.
And with that said, Garcia has plenty of potential. He'll be a good pitcher in the future, but right now, righties are hitting Garcia with a 276 average. And you'd assume that the Rays are going to have plenty of righties in that lineup. I know they like to platoon a lot. They do a lot of those kind of things, but I would assume they have at least 5 or 6 batters from the right side going up against Garcia. 19 earned runs in 28.1 innings pitched. The Rays could definitely explode off of Garcia. Obviously, the Rays don't have the best bats, but they're playing in a ballpark where the bats could be a little bit better than being in Tampa Bay. And then Glasnow, he's faced the Yankees 3 times already this season. He's had 1 pretty bad start, 2 solid starts. 3.54 ERA on the road this season with a 3-0 record, an OBA at just 190. He has allowed 11 home runs, like I said. Again, this is the guy that will allow home runs. So if the Yankees can get some walks and then have a little bit of power after getting those walks, that's a big deal. The Yankees can definitely get ahead early in this game. And that's why I'd also recommend the over in this game. But if looking for a team in this game, I think the Rays in the first 5 innings would be the play.
There you go.
But if you're looking at the full game, I think the Yankees are the play. I think there's value on the Yankees in the full game, but I think the Rays could lead in the first 5. I think the Yankees can definitely get to the Rays bullpen. We saw that yesterday. We saw that in that game, how the Yankees can definitely destroy any bullpen, even if it's the Rays. Doesn't matter who it is. They can definitely get back and win the game. But I do think that Glasnow is the better pitcher, and therefore I do think that the Rays can definitely get to Garcia early. So I would have to say the Rays in the first 5, Yankees in the full game, and also over in this game, but also the trifecta. The Rays can probably score 4. The Yankees can probably score 4. So both of them over 3.5 would definitely be plays as well. But for me, this is a game I'm staying away from. I'm just not confident in anything I've said, although I think this is going to be a really fun game. I'm definitely tuning in.
No, you're right about that. And the Philly Sports Passion says that also Rays first 5 that he's looking at as well, along with their team total, and also Rays full game money line. I do think the Rays are the play full game, but Jason, you bring up a really good point here, because if you're trying to just match up and you say, all right, Glasnow is what your advantage is for Tampa Bay, not the Tampa Bay 1 through 9 batters going up against Garcia, even though they should have some plus matchups. Because if you get to the end of 5 innings and you have a 2-1 lead, you did your job if you're Glasnow. Then you got to hand it over to a bullpen where now the Yankees get the advantage. Not because the Tampa Bay bullpen isn't good. It's because those Yankee bats now can start feasting on pitchers that might not be, Glasnow's type of level. So I agree with your look there in the first 5 innings, because and also the same thing would go true because you pay an extra 20 cents. So if we're taking a look at 125 or so was the full game for the Rays money line, it's about 140 for the first 5 innings. If the Rays are down 2-1 after 5 innings, it's just a damn good shot. They're not winning that game or even have a chance once you get into a bullpen versus bullpen matchup. But obviously, if the Rays are winning 2-1 after 5, there's still no guarantee they're going to hold on and win, because unless Glasnow goes 8 innings strong and you have like 1 inning of piecemeal bullpen to get through it with the Yankees, yes. But if you're just looking at overall value, if you like Tampa Bay, they better be up at the end of 5 innings if you want to have a shot at that full game money line. Interesting stuff to talk about, but it's an interesting one you have also, saying, hey, you know what? You might be able to flip the tails. Let me get that first 5 innings there with the Rays, then flip it over to the Yankees full game, and your trifecta makes sense as well. 3-3, 4-4. You could certainly see that here in that ball game, Jason. Again, not in Tampa Bay. You got some good weather and hitting conditions, which proved good last night. 9-11, 9-12, last game of the day. Nightcap, 9:38 Eastern time, first pitch. San Diego and the Los Angeles Dodgers. This game's going to take place in Arlington. Clevenger is on the mound for San Diego. If you read the news clippings, they were very optimistic about him able to participate in the series. But as we know as gamblers, you ain't going to lay the wood down and say, I like the Padres in this series without either getting Lamet or Clevenger back. Now, Lamet's not going to be on the roster, but Clevenger is, so that'll be a bump. But also, as gamblers, what are we actually getting out of Mike Clevenger tonight? That's going to be interesting. Walker Buehler will be the pitcher for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Almost 8 out of every 10 tickets here coming in early at SBRodds.com, coming in on those Los Angeles Dodgers. 150s, 160s across the board, over under 8.5. Roof will be open in Texas for this neutral game. And I got to say, Still leaning towards the over in this one, but it's kind of interesting. Are we going to get that flashback Clevenger from Cleveland saying, whoa, here we go, Padres? Or is it all hands on deck, boy, you look good for an inning and a half, and then the wheels fell off and we go right to the bullpen here?
Right. So Clevenger coming in hasn't, really thrown since 9-13, right? 7 innings pitched, 9-13, faced the Giants, allowed just 2 hits, no runs, looked really good in that start. Then he tried to throw 9-23, pitched 1 inning, and that was the end of him. Since then, he hasn't pitched in a Major League Baseball game. So does he have a short leash? Does he pitch well? Is he healthy? All of these questions come to mind, and that's why there's no chance I'm touching this game. But if I had to choose, I think over 8.5 would be the play. Walker Buehler on the mound for the Dodgers as well. This is a guy, a high K rate, went 4 innings pitched and allowed 3 hits and 2 runs with 8 strikeouts versus Milwaukee in the postseason, but still didn't go 5 innings versus Milwaukee. This is a team, an offense that really wasn't that great this season. He couldn't get through 5 innings for his team. If that happens, the Padres can definitely get ahead with their bats. So if you go into this game and you see Buehler and Clevenger both not be able to throw 5 innings, that's concerning. And if that's the case, over 8.5 would definitely be the play in this one. The other thing is the Dodgers have actually won Buehler's last 7 starts. So the Dodgers are winning Buehler starts. He's allowed just 6 earned runs in his last 21.2 innings pitched. He did allow 3 earned runs on 3 solo shots in 5 innings pitched versus the Padres earlier in the season. So 3 solo shots. Obviously, if the roof is open, the ball can definitely carry a little bit. And with that said, the Padres can definitely have some power against Buehler. And especially if they get some guys on base, they'll have even more runs to be scored in this game. So with that said, it's going to be an interesting one. Clevenger's been really good with leaving runners on base this season and throughout his entire career. His strikeout's kind of low this season, but it's kind of a small sample size for both these pitchers. Buehler and Clevenger, they both had time off this season, which gives it really, kind of makes it hard to assess these 2 guys. Who, our 8th pitchers, last season they were terrific. Both could have, potentially won the Cy Young and all that, jazz. But at the end of the day, both these guys have only pitched, 40 innings or less, about that. So it's really hard to assess this. And with that said, I guess the Dodgers would be the team to bet here as a favorite if you're going to put in a parlay. But, I'd rather take like the Lakers than take the Dodgers in a parlay. This game will just be a fun game to watch, but I don't have a play.
It's interesting because, again, you're talking about a short sprint season where you don't have these numbers pile up where you're going over like 40 to 50 innings. Forget about 40 to 50 innings on the season. You should 40 to 50 innings on the road that you can look at, because Walker Buehler in this short season, 6.19 ERA on the road, a FIP of 8.19, an xFIP of 4.91. So we could be touched up, and we always like to talk about offense. And yes, that roof is going to be open tonight, which will let some of that heat and humidity in Texas in. But if you're looking for lineups here, regardless of starting pitching, both of these got A+. Outside of Tommy Pham, this is his first right-handed pitching for the San Diego Padres, who has a low xFIP and a low weighted on base average. Every single person is extremely elevated on that San Diego Padres team. Then you flip it over to the Dodgers, and it's a lot more of the same. There are no breathers. You're going to get basically out of 18 batters, 17 of those elevated going against right-handed pitching, which is what you're going to get. I think the ball does fly tonight. And again, we're looking at 2 pitchers that theoretically can be hit. We don't know what we're going to get out of Mike Clevenger. Walker Buehler, we've seen him give up, 5 innings, 3 earned runs is not out of the question. So when I take a look at an 8.5, I got nothing but leaning on the over in this game, because those lineups 1 through 9, no breaks. They're going to do damage, takes 1 swing of the bat. And yes, I always yell, say, hey, watch out for those arenas or watch out for those dome stadiums. When they open it, it makes a huge difference. And we'll see if it plays out tonight. I still don't know if that game early, it's going to start about 15 minutes, is open, but I do assume it's closed. If anybody else has any information out there that could, sway or maybe for an in-game bet. But we went over the 4 games, quick 30 minutes on the show, 300 people watching live. We do thank you guys for that. 38 thumbs up. Very appreciative. If you miss anything on the network or channel, specifically with Major League Baseball, Jason does a lot of great write-ups here. Our videos are all there. Go to sbrpicks.com/MLB to make yourself a smarter gambler. Best bets and bankers. Yesterday, didn't have a great feel. Basically would have went 1-1 over on the side picks, but also like the over in that Oakland game. Taking a look at a few games today. If I'm willing to take a long shot on a dog for a little bit of money, I do think the Miami Marlins will be in play today. But I got to tell you, I like the Houston Astros -110 in their matchup against the Oakland Athletics. And I also like runs coming in that San Diego Dodgers game. So I'm going to go over 8.5 in the Dodgers game, Jason. I'm going to take the Houston Astros on the money line. Best bets and bankers for today, Jason. Where are you looking towards?
So we're going with the Astros in the first 5 in the money line. So that's at -110. Excuse me. Here's some stats to back it up. Alex Bregman, 3 home runs against Manaea in 23 at-bats and 29 plate appearances. The on-base percentage of .414. George Springer is hitting .324 against Manaea with 10 singles and a double, 3 walks, and 34 at-bats and 38 plate appearances. Yuli Gurriel batting .276 with a home run, 8 hits in 29 at-bats. Martin Maldonado, 2 doubles and a triple versus Manaea with a .500 batting average and 11 plate appearances. Then you also have other righties in the Astros lineup like Jose Altuve. Hasn't been great, of course. But Carlos Correa starting to maybe figure it out just a little bit. Another righty in that lineup that can do damage versus Manaea. And of course, we saw the Astros do some damage versus that bullpen of the Athletics that's been used a lot through 4 games in the postseason so far. So I do like the Astros in this game, even if Manaea has a short outing. So with that said, the Astros first 5 money line at -110. It's official. It's the banker. And we're going to get this paper.
No, we are going to get this paper. You know what's good about Jason being here on a Tuesday with 4 games? You know what's even is better? Wednesday with 4 games as well. You know, Jason, I'll be back tomorrow once again on Wednesday to set up this Major League Baseball card. Same time as always, 1:30 p.m. Eastern time. Best bets and bankers are in. Quick show. Got you guys in and out. Thank you for spending your Tuesday afternoon with us. Enjoy some Major League Baseball today. I'm also going to do an NFL show just a little bit later. Starting off, there's no rest in the NFL, as Jason knows with all the work he does there. Once you get a doubleheader on Monday night, you're right back at it on Tuesday trying to set up the card for the remaining week. But we do thank you guys for tuning into the Major League Baseball show. I'm Donnie Seymour. He's Jason Radowitz. We're sportsbookraview.com. And this was your Major League Playoff Edition baseball show for Tuesday. Good luck.